Hi guys, welcome back. It's Thursday, so I'm back with another video. If you're new here, my name is Melissa Crafter and I create epoxy-free custom tumblers along with other crafts. This week's video, I'm going to be showing you how I created this scrapbook paper tumbler. Half is scrapbook paper and the other half I went ahead and glittered it. So if that's something that you're interested in, please continue watching. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down in the comment section. And if you have any video suggestions for me that you would like to see on my channel, go ahead and drop those down in the comment section as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I started off with a prep tumbler. I have a video on how I prep my tumblers by sanding and base coating them. I'll go ahead and link it right here on the right hand corner as well as in the video description. But you want to make sure that you start off with a well prepped tumbler. Since this is a half scrapbook paper and half glitter tumbler, I'm just here trying to do an outline of where I'm going to cut it to get a good piece that's going to cover half of my tumbler. This is the scrapbook paper that I'm going to be using. It is from Hobby Lobby and it did cost me 59 cents. Doing a scrapbook paper tumbler is a really inexpensive way to customize a tumbler, so this is why I love doing scrapbook paper tumblers. The tumbler that I'm using is a 20-ounce skinny straight Hogg tumbler from the Stainless Depot. When you're doing scrapbook paper tumblers, it's definitely best to use tumblers that are straight instead of any tumbler that curves or is tapered. When you do use any tumbler that is tapered or has any curves, it's a little bit difficult to get the scrapbook paper to adhere well to the tumbler, especially on those areas where the tumbler curves. Those curves can also cause your scrapbook paper to kind of wrinkle up in those areas. So it's best to use a tumbler that is straight. Now that I have my scrapbook paper piece that I want to add to my tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and adhere it using glitter glue from the Crystalac company. Measurements for the scrapbook paper piece is going to depend on how big you want to add the piece to your cup or how big your tumbler is. So it's definitely going to be different depending on the type of cup that you're using. But I'm going to go ahead and get started and add a little bit of glitter glue to the back piece of the scrapbook paper. I'm going to go ahead and do that with a soft bristle brush. This one here is just a flat Taklon brush. I'll go ahead and link everything that I used down in the video description. Now that I have my glitter glue on the back side of my scrapbook paper, I'm going to go ahead and try to line this up here with the rim of my cup. Once I have that lined up, I'm going to go ahead and use some pressure of my hand and just kind of press down on it to make sure that it's well adhered and I don't have any bumps along the cup. Now that I have that whole piece placed down on my cup, I'm going to go in with a smaller flat Taklon brush to try to get the glitter glue in between any part that's lifted. I'm trying to get it in between the scrapbook paper and the cup just to kind of get that well adhered onto the cup, especially near the rim and the bottom of the cup. You will notice some lifting there where the scrapbook paper didn't adhere all the way well to the cup. So here I'm just using some glitter glue, some more of the glitter glue, and getting it in between those lifted parts and making sure that it's well adhered. Trying to get it to adhere well near the rim and the bottom of the cup does take a little bit of time, but you just want to be sure to just add a little bit of the glue and then just press down using your finger, and then it will adhere to your cup. You do want to make sure that you have a good seal, especially near the rim of the cup, so that you won't get any, so that no bright tone, when you do go to add bright tone, no bright tone gets underneath your scrapbook paper and then have some lifting going on later on. One thing I like to do when I'm trying to get a good seal and get that the scrapbook paper to adhere well, especially near the rim area. I go ahead and use my heat gun to apply some air there to get the glitter glue to dry up a little bit. When the glitter glue does start to dry up, it does get a little bit tackier, so that helps with trying to get it to adhere better. Since the glitter does get tackier, it sticks on quicker. So I'm just applying some air and then using my finger, I'm just pressing down on it. So I'm just repeating this until I see that I have a good seal here near the rim area. You do want to keep in mind that this is paper, so you do want to be careful with it and make sure you don't tear it or pull hard enough to where you can rip it. So here my scrapbook paper is well adhered to my cup, and I'm going to go ahead and add another coat of glitter glue on top to go ahead and seal my scrapbook paper. Once I add this coat of glitter glue on top of my scrapbook paper, I am going to allow it to dry for 2 hours. Once the 2 hours is up, I'm going to go ahead and add another coat of glitter glue just to make sure that my scrapbook paper is well sealed. You want to be sure to add 2 or 3 coats of glitter glue on top of your scrapbook paper to make sure that it's well sealed and you won't have any bleeding going on once you go and add Bright Tone. Glue does take 2 hours to dry, so you want to make sure that you're waiting 2 hours in between each coat. Once my scrapbook paper is well sealed and adhered to my cup and it has fully dried, I'm going to go ahead and glitter my other half of my tumbler. To glitter, I'm going to also be using Crystalac's glitter glue and the same Taklon brush. To get a nice crisp line when adding my glitter, I'm going to go ahead and tape off my tumbler here on the part where the scrapbook paper is. Here I'm using just painter's tape, and I'm going to go ahead and just tape off that part where my scrapbook paper is. So once I tape that off, I'm going to go ahead and add a coat of glitter glue to go ahead and add my glitter with. I'm going to be using my same Taklon brush, and I'm just going to apply a nice thin even coat of glitter glue, making sure that it is a streak-free coat of glitter glue all along where I want my glitter to go. The glitter that I'm using is called Pumpkin Spice, and it is from Glitzy Girl Glitters. It's a fine and chunky blend of this sort of burnt orange color, and it fits perfect with this fall tumbler that I'm doing. I do have a code with Glitzy Girl Glitters. It is Melissa Crafter 10. I'll go ahead and add it here on this frame, as well as in the video description. I'll go ahead and also link their website down below if you guys want to check them out. Here, since I added a white base coat to this cup, I did spray paint this cup white. This cup did need a second coat of glitter. Here you'll see me adding my first coat of glitter, and you can see the white from the base coat of my cup. You can see the white part. But no worries, once we do the second coat of glitter, it'll be completely covered. It is best to match your base coat to your glitter. That way you only need one coat. Since I did already have this cup base coated white, I just went ahead and left it as is, and I'm going to go ahead and just add 2 coats of glitter. Here I'm using an old gift card to go ahead and flatten down any glitter that might be lifted or not laying flat. I'm just trying to get this chunky glitter to lay as flat as possible. Once I do this, I am going to allow this first coat of glitter to dry for 2 hours. Once my first coat of glitter has dried for 2 hours, I'm going to go ahead and add a second coat of glitter. Here I'm using a brush to just kind of brush off any loose glitter that didn't adhere to my cup. I'm just kind of brushing it off, and then I'm going to go ahead and use glitter glue again to add a second coat of glitter. To add my second coat, I'm going to go ahead and add some glitter glue, and then using my Taklon brush, I'm going to go ahead and spread that out, making sure that I have a nice thin even coat. And then I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle on my second coat of glitter. Once I add my second coat of glitter, I'm going to allow that to dry for an additional 2 hours. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove my painter's tape, and as you can see, I have those sharp crisp line along where my scrapbook paper is. And then using the same brush that I used earlier, I'm going to go ahead and brush off any glitter that might have landed on my scrapbook paper. So here's how my cup looks after the second coat. As you can see, you can no longer see the white base coat after this second coat of glitter. I am then going to go ahead and take that same gift card and kind of just press down on my glitter to make sure that it is all laying down flat and I don't have any of the glitter sticking up or lifting. I am going to also seal and flatten down my glitter a little bit later on once my second coat of glitter is dry using parchment paper, but for the meantime I'm going to go ahead and flatten it down using this old gift card just to get it as flat as possible. Once I do this, I am going to allow the second coat of glitter to dry for the 2 hours of dry time that it needs for the glitter glue to dry completely. I'm going to allow that to dry for 2 hours before I go ahead and seal and flatten down my glitter using glitter glue and parchment paper. Now that my second coat of glitter has dried, I'm going to go ahead and begin to seal my glitter. To do this, I'm going to go ahead and give my glitter a few coats of glitter glue. I'm going to go ahead and just add some glitter glue right on top of my glitter, and using the same Taklon brush that I've been using, I'm going to go ahead and spread that out to make sure that my glitter is well covered. I am going to seal and flatten my glitter using parchment paper twice just to ensure that my glitter is well sealed and flattened down as best as possible. So I'm going to be repeating this step twice here, what I'm doing right now. After adding a coat of glitter glue on top of my glitter, I'm going to go ahead and allow this to dry for an hour before I go ahead and begin to flatten down my glitter. Now that that has dried off for an hour, I'm going to go in with some parchment paper. I'm going to grab just a small piece, just enough that it will cover my cup. And I'm going to go ahead and roll my cup in parchment paper using my hand to apply some pressure down towards the table to kind of flatten my glitter down as best as possible. Flattening down your glitter helps lower the amount of coats that you need to achieve a glossy finish. So you want to be able to get your glitter as flat as possible. That way you can achieve a glossier cup with less coats. Now that I have done this once, I'm going to go ahead and allow my glitter glue to dry for that additional hour that it needs to fully dry, and then I'm going to go in and repeat this step. Now that my glue has dried for that additional hour, I'm going to go ahead and repeat this step. The reason why I'm doing this step twice is because I have a chunky glitter here and I want to make sure that it's well sealed and it is as flat as possible. So that's why I'm repeating this step. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the glitter glue, allow it to dry for an hour, and then go ahead and flatten it down using parchment paper again. Now that this has dried off for an hour, I'm going to go ahead and flatten it down using parchment paper again. I'm going to go ahead and roll my cup in parchment paper using some pressure towards the table to make sure that my glitter is as flat as possible. After doing this, I'm going to go ahead and allow my cup to dry just for a couple hours to make sure that the multiple coats of glitter glue dry off well before I start coating my cup with Bright Tone. So this is what Bright Tone looks like. This is what I use as my top coat. It is an epoxy alternative. It is a water-based non-toxic top coat. I'll go ahead and link it in my video description if you guys want to check it out. It does have a 30-day cure time, but after 5 to 7 days, the cup is okay for use, of course, following proper care instructions. Bright Tone is completely non-toxic and safe to use even indoors. So now that my cup has dried off for a couple hours, I'm going to go ahead and start coating my cup with Bright Tone. I transferred my Bright Tone into this condiment bottle from the gallon for easier application. Every coat of Bright Tone is added the same. You want to just apply a thin coat, just enough to where your cup isn't dripping. And then you want to go ahead and allow your cup to spin for an hour and then dry for an additional 3 hours to total 4 hours of dry time. I don't record every coat I give my cup just because every coat of Bright Tone is added the same. So I'm going to continue coating my cup with Bright Tone until my cup is smooth enough for decals. And I am going to be sanding every 3 to 4 coats of Bright Tone just to go ahead and help smoothen out my cup. So here is my cup after the 4th coat of Bright Tone. I'm going to go in with 400 grit sanding paper and I'm going to give my cup a good sand. Sanding helps smoothen out your cup and in turn achieve a glossy cup with less coats. Sorry for the lighting here. I had to sand in my garage, which is I usually don't sand in my garage. I usually sand outside, but it was dark out, so I had to improvise and sand in my garage. After sanding, I'm going to go ahead and just wipe my cup with a lint-free cloth and I'm going to go ahead and take it back inside and continue coating my cup with Bright Tone. Here I'm going to be adding my 5th coat of Bright Tone. I'm going to go ahead and add my coat of Bright Tone the same exact way. I'm going to go ahead and add a thin coat and then I'm going to go ahead and allow this to spin for an hour and then dry for an additional 3 hours to total 4 hours of dry time. I'm going to continue coating my cup until it's smooth enough for decals. While I continue coating my cup, I'm going to go ahead and start working on my decal. I am working on it on the Cricut Design Space and I'm going to go ahead and add this Fall Vibes text. I did do an offset here on my text and then I'm also going to cut out some strips to add to where my scrapbook paper separates from my glitter. The vinyl that I'm going to be using is also from Cricut. It is a textured metallic in gold. And I'm also going to be using this cream color vinyl. Here I am cutting out my decals using my Cricut Explore Air 2. Now that I have my decal cut out, I'm going to go ahead and weed my decal using some Cricut tools. So now my cup is smooth enough for decals and I'm going to go ahead and add my vinyl strips along with my vinyl decal. Transfer my decals onto my cup. I'm going to go ahead and use some transfer tape and then I'm also going to be cutting the top and the bottom of my strips to make it the size of my cup. To cut my strips, I'm going to go ahead and use my X-Acto knife just to be sure that I am getting a straight cut there. Now that my vinyl strips are added, I'm going to go ahead and add my Fall Vibes decal onto my cup. Here I'm just trying to find that center space and I'm trying to place it as straight as possible. Now that my decals are added, I'm going to go ahead and continue coating my cup with Bright Tone. And I'm going to add a coat of Bright Tone every 4 hours until I'm satisfied with my gloss finish. So this is how the cup turned out. I absolutely love this whole fall vibes tumbler that I made. I love how the glitter and the scrapbook paper all came along together. As always, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment section. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And also go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I post daily tips on how to make epoxy free tumblers. My Instagram name is melissacrafter00. Thank you so much for watching.